Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, good evening. I am Nadya Rizky Kinanti from class 3SA04. Today, we are going to be learning about the four conditionals. Now, if you don't know or don't remember, what is conditional sentence? Well, to refresh your memory, conditional sentence are statements discussing known factors or hypothetical situations and their consequences. We have type 0, type 1, type 2, and type 3. We usually use conditional sentence to talk about what actually happens, what could happen, what we wish would happen, or what might have happened. So each conditional sentence has an if clause and a main clause. The order of these clauses are not fixed, so you can just swap them around and they don't change the meaning at all. For example, if I practice, I will get better. I will get better if I practice. With all conditional sentences, the order of these clauses are not fixed. So it doesn't matter which way you switch it, but when you change the order of the clauses, the meaning is still the same. Now we got that introduction out of the way, let's start with zero condition. Now, what is zero conditional? A zero conditional consists of two present simple verbs. One is in the if clause and the other is in the main clause. Both parts of the sentence are in the present tense. Okay. As you can see on my left, if plus present simple and present simple. If this thing happens, that thing happens. So we use zero conditional to talk about the general truth and guaranteed results, basically scientific facts. Um, for example, if you don't eat enough, you lose weight. That is a scientific fact because people, humans, if we don't eat enough, we will get skinny. Okay. Um, Note that we are not talking about specific conditions on that day or anything. No, it's just in general. And interestingly, you can also replace if with when or whenever without the meaning ever changing. Okay. And remember when you use the word you in zero conditional, we are often talking about people in general. So it doesn't mean specifically you, but you, the people. For example, when I'm happy, I smile. I smile when I'm happy. If you heat water, it evaporates. People die if they don't drink enough water. That both of those things are scientific facts. So if Indonesian people get bored, they start a war on Twitter. I mean, it is a scientific fact. I mean, you can just if you use Twitter and you will definitely see the evidence there. Uh, Also note that we often use zero conditionals to give instruction with the imperative in the main clause. For example, text me if you get lonely. If she rings the doorbell, tell her to go away. Basically, we use zero conditional to give people instructions or just ordering people around. Okay, now that we're done with zero conditional, let's move on to the first condition. Now, first conditional has the present simple after if, and then the future in the main clause. If this thing happens, that thing will happen. So first conditional usually is talking about what might happen in the future, things that will probably be true, but we cannot know for sure what will happen in the future, so we use first conditional. And with zero conditional, we spoke in general, right? But with first conditional, we speak about the real world and about specific things. Oh yeah. Also note that the contraction of I will is I'll. As you can see from the examples, if we do not leave now, we will miss the bus. If I see my mom, I'll ask her. Okay, let's take a look at the other example. If we don't leave now, We might miss the train. If I see my mom, I shall ask her. And it is important to consider that modals, when it comes to the first conditional, you can use modals in the main clause in place of will to express recommendation of a degree of certainty and permission. Okay, for example, if it gets colder, we'll light a fire turns into if it gets colder, we should light a fire. Okay, moving on to the second conditional. The second conditional uses the past simple after if, and I'll explain that later. Uh, so we use the second conditional to talk about things that probably not going to be true. Talk about dreams and fantasies, things in the present that are impossible. If this thing happened, that thing would happen. Okay, for example, if I won the lottery, I would buy a house in Italy. But the fact is, I didn't win the lottery. Therefore, I didn't buy the house. If she had more money, she would buy a Nintendo. But the fact is, she doesn't have any more money, so she can't buy a Nintendo. Okay. So in this case, it's very common to use I were instead of I was. You can choose between I was or and I were. Uh, and the only difference is that if you use I were, it sounds more formal, while I was sounds a little bit more informal. If I were you, I would stop poking the bear. If I was taller, I would wear high heels. Okay, now let's talk about continuous. So in the second conditional sentences, the continuous form of a present conditional can be used. Like, for example, if this thing happened, that thing would be happening. Okay, it's not so common, but it is important for you to just know that it's there. So, for example, if I spoke Japanese, I would be living in Japan. If I had an exam tomorrow, I would be revising right now. Okay, let's go to the last conditional we're going to be talking about, the third conditional. So we use third conditional to talk about things that situation that didn't happen, image result of imaginary situation. So basically, third conditional is used for really impossible situations, something that's impossible to do, that you cannot undo it or anything else. So third conditional uses if plus past perfect, would plus have plus past participle. If this thing had happened, that thing would have happened. For example, if I had studied harder, I would have passed the exam. But the fact is, I didn't study, therefore I failed the exam. If we had left earlier, we wouldn't have arrived late. But the fact is, we didn't leave early, therefore we are late. Okay, as with most topics in English languages, conditional sentence often presents special cases in which unique rules must be applied. Like, one, use of the simple future in the if clause. So one exception is when the action in the if clause will take place after the action in the main clause. For example, if aspirin will ease my headache, I will take a couple tonight. Now, the action in the if clause is the aspirin easing the headache, which will take place only after the speaker takes them later that night. The second is word to in the if clause. Word to is used to place emphasis on this potential outcome. The verb phrase word to is sometimes used in conditional sentences when the likely or unlikely result is particularly awful or unthinkable. So if I were to be sick, I would miss another day of work. Note that the emphatic word to can be used to describe hypothetical scenarios in the present, future, and past. So the if I were to be sick is uh not really determine when are you sick or not. It's just a more of a hypothetical scenario. Now, that is the end of our material for today. And now, let's move on to the gaming exercise of if conditional.
In progress.
Okay, now let's continue with our gaming exercise. I am using eslgameplus.com and with the material saying like if conditionals, space dogs. Let's play. Tutorial. Read the question and select the correct answer. Yes, once you are sure you select the correct answer, press submit, but be sure to do this within the given time. Okay, some questions have multiple answers. Make sure all of them are selected. Okay, let's go. If
Choose
you
the correct answer.
bag of money in the street, what would you do with it? If you found what do I get? Oh, you get a dog with a bone. Okay. I must
Choose the
hurry.
correct answer.
Tony will be annoyed if I'm not on time. Hmm. I didn't
Choose the
realize
correct
that
answer.
John was in hospital. If I had known he was in the hospital, I would have paid him a visit. If
Choose the
the
correct answer.
telephone rings, can you answer it?
Choose
I
the
don't know
correct
what
answer.
to do about the situation. What would you do if you were in my position? Oh, I got a star. Cute. If
Choose the correct answer.
tomorrow we won't go to the beach. If it rains tomorrow, we won't go to the beach.
Choose the correct answer.
It's too cold outside. If it were warmer, we'll go to the beach. Yay.
Choose the correct answer.
If you had enough money to travel anywhere in the world, where would you go? I'm
Choose
glad
the
we
correct
had a
answer.
map of the park. We would have been lost if we hadn't had.
Choose the correct
Car
answer.
crash was his fault. If he had driven more carefully, it wouldn't have happened.
Choose the correct answer.
Ben is always tired. He shouldn't go to bed so late. If Ben didn't go to bed so late, he wouldn't be tired all the time.
Choose the correct answer.
Sorry to wake you up. I didn't realize you were asleep. If I had known you were asleep, I wouldn't have woken you up. Okay, that is the end of our video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope this material benefits you in the future or now. And thank you for watching. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.